So, brackets are made. Now it's time for the sheet metal. Welcome back to Delboy's Garage. Okay, so the plan is with this here cowling shroud thing is I want something that's not standard, doesn't look like it's from a Kawasaki being bolted on, and not one of those seen it everywhere on every single secondary Street Fighter you see everywhere, little monster faces with lights in. They're cool, but you know, so everyone's got one. They're like belly buttons, right? So I'm going to make something sheet metalage. The idea is with this, I've got my mount points here. Have a look, Pen. And it's a cowling, just something on top, upon which to then put some sides hung, upon which to then put perhaps a little shroud type thing on top, and hide maybe some idiot lights and clocks in the back. But before I need to do anything, I need to cut that first of all, and some measurage. Right, I've already got this partly cut out. I sort of mark where. Fortunately, the light's got a little dot in the centre, which is quite cool, right in the centre of the headlight itself, which gives me the ability to line everything up, which is quite cool. And where the brackets are. And this is so that once it's roughly right where it's radiused, can radius that in. And then when it's ready to cut and weld it together, I can get all the measurements the same. And that puts a dot there against there, so I can radius that in when it's done. So reversed radiuses. Was that radii?
I'm not saying anything, I always get in trouble.
There you go.
Reminds me being at school.
Is it?
Really? Using your protractor.
Protractor? Is that a protractor then? Come on, Penny, think. Or is that?
Sorry.
What were you doing in maths? Probably talking to your mates on your phone. Ding, 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 ding.
On my phone? I didn't have a phone at school.
No.
I'm old.
Right, they're coming out later on. Okay, that's got the top basically done. A couple of radii on the top, and then a point in the centre. Now, that's the first one. Making some sides. Done a little, as you can see, I've done a little bit up ahead with this. Got the side cut there, which will run forward. Just giving it an angle. I don't want any 90-degree angles in this at all, because it'll just look like a box, which is crap for Mundo. And as that's the top, a couple of, where are we? Cowling points there. So that should work on the top. All this will just be flat pieces of sheet metal that I'll weld together.
Not cardboard then?
No, not cardboard, no. I've tried welding cardboard. Kept me warm for ages, but didn't have a good result for the bike. Right, there we go. That's got. So I just want a couple of front pieces for that. So measurements. Right. Now just using on this, just using the existing part and drawing on what I want to use. Now this is, so on the top piece, the little cowling that's going to stand on it, I want a secondary piece there, like I've drawn on, standing off it, pretty much doing this with it here, standing a piece of metal off the surface, welded onto some spacers from the inside, so that kind of gives that alternative angle to that. So there'll be a second one there, and then two pieces on the front standing off with a downwards slant to them to give them a little bit of an aggressive look. So the easiest way to cut those. So there's that one. Easiest way forward is cut it, turn it over, and make the other one. And I'm using this super thick card because it's a little bit easier than using cornflakes packets, which get all floppy and they're not accurate at all. This stuff's quite accurate as a template maker.
And you have to gaze at Honey Bear as well when you're doing it.
Honey Monster? Who's Honey Bear? You think it's Sugar Bear, aren't you?
Sugar Bear.
Custom building.
That's the matter with me today.
Right. That's it. That's it, there we are. On your fingers.
Ow!
Enough of this gay banter. hole in the bench there. There I am.
Whole bench falls apart. Frank Spencer's house.
Yes, use a sharper saw. Right. There's a million people in America now googling who Frank Spencer was.
Yeah, Google Frank Spencer.
Google Frank
house.
Spencer.
It's a funny episode.
But as they say, put your tea down first. Right, there we go. That should be the penultimate template. Right, so that should give I one of those. So that stands effectively then off the surface, gives you a 3D effect, which will be quite cool. And flip it over. We don't really need to flip it over, do we? Just make another one. Okay. At the top, the cowling front pieces. One side, I'll just cut 2 of those. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces of metal. 4 sides on each. 4 7s. 28 cuts. Let's get cracking. Jigsaw and a fresh blade. Right, I've got to be. Takes a little bit more head scratching now, because on a few of these, the actual template itself, the measurement of it, isn't exactly how I want it. On that one, for instance, I've extended that front to get the point at the front of it just a little bit further forward. Not too much, because obviously can't be too far forward, but I've added 5mm to that, so I've got to measure that up. I'm getting 70 to there. Rather than doing it just as a draw round. There it is. 170 to there. And all the radiuses will have to be done on the grinder later on. Just extended these 6mm either side, just so they meet the edges of the base that they're going to stand on. There's no little gaps. So all I'm going to do is cut on these, is cut one, then turn it over and cut the other using it, so it's a mirror image. There's no point in drawing 2, because the 2 templates might be different by just a bit. Right, finally, one goes in there. Actually, what I'm going to do, make use of that edge.
Less cutting.
Yeah, absolutely. Or at least a guaranteed straight edge for one part of it. Yeah. At least some of the edges will be straight. Now I could scribble this, but I'm messing about with it, rubbing it out and just getting it right. You know, scratch marks all over it. So it's easier just to use a pencil. And there's one. So I need 2 of them, 2 of them, 1 base, and 2 sides. Right, 2, 4, 6, 7. 7?
You're good at maths.
1, 2, 3. Don't be fooled, it's all in the mirrors. 2 fronts, 2 fronts, 2 sides, and a top. Okay, there we are. We are done, that's it. Let's set that up there and set the jigsaw up with a new blade. I've got a slightly coarser blade in this. And just a little bit of theory, I'm going to run it faster on a coarser blade and just press on it less, and hopefully it will zip through it a bit quicker and get less hot. I always used to use a fine blade for sheet metal, as is the normal law of metal work. If you're using thin sheet metal, use the finest blade you can so that the teeth are quite small. Big blades will just jag it over. But with this I'm using slightly bigger teeth and I'm going to speed them up. So hopefully then just press on them a little bit and it should be fine. Might just tear lumps out of it and have to start again. Right, so there we go. We'll put it on the bench now. Let's just cut it into bite-sized pieces. I can't handle it when it's all over the place, big sheet of metal. It wouldn't it be nice to have a water jet and just program in a CAD program and just allow it to slice it out while we go for tea? first bit, just quickly need to draw around this pencil to get another one. And the best way to do it with this is they're going to go on the grinder back to back. Just literally clamp them together, put them on the grinder, and make them the same that way, rather than worrying about cutting them exact. Right, so that's that's the first two. Okay. Well, they're as near as damn it. Obviously, this is what, in an ideal world, you put those on a belt sander now. Literally clamp them together tight. We just put them on a flat belt sander, and you just get perfect flat edges. But I just have to use a grinder. They are as near as damn it though, and none of it encroaches inside the line. So that's the two panels that will go on the front like that, downwards, something like that. It all works somehow. Right. On top. It's not bad. Pretty straight line. Actually, there's different tools out there for cutting sheet metal. Obviously, the best in the world is a guillotine or a water jet, but don't have one of those. Got a jigsaw. Got a hacksaw. But I think this is just the simplest way because it makes less fuss. If you range, I can cut this with a disc. Well, obviously, cutting with a disc burns its way through the metal. We see all the sparks that come off. That's little iron filings that are on fire. They're glowing with heat, and obviously you've just melted a line in it. And I've done it before. It's no straighter. It makes even more noise than this, and it stinks. It stinks the whole garage. It stinks you up as you've ever done grinding metal. So I've always felt that a jigsaw is the best way. It's clean, simple, quite accurate, and a little bit more peaceful than a disc. That's one of the sides down there. Just need to pull that, make another one. Cool. Right, we have two more to do. One more of these and one more of these to get marked out. Right, last two pieces. I'm going to use this nice factory straight edge on the sheet metal, which makes it a little bit easier, and put it on the longest cut. So it's absolutely beautiful. And cut around the rest. Now, obviously, like all these things, it has to be accurate if you're going to make a joint and weld that joint. Especially if you're a posh boy and you do TIG welding, because TIG welded joints have to be absolutely almost airtight. But MIG's not so bad. What's the longest one, Pen? That one, isn't it? I reckon. Just come off the edge. But where that's just a little bit wobbly, where it's a cut edge, put everything off the edge just very slightly, because it's this one I'll grind back. This edge is already perfect, and I'll use this edge as a guide to grind back this one to make it perfect, which would just be time on the grinder, which is laborious and boring, but has to be done. There we go. that worked. Check that out, Peg. Go on the bottom edge. See bottom edge?
Yep.
Top edge.
Yep. Not bad. Could do better.
You must try harder. Problem child. There's two of them. Not bad, babies. One more.
One more.
One
My head
more.
is ringing.
Pardon?
My
Pardon? I have no
My
idea what
head's
you said because my ears are ringing. Right, one more to do.
Let's go.
Let's go. Last one. This is the one you rush and bugger it up. Steady right to the end. Last piece, that's it. Now, obviously they worked. See if they have to. Pretty much bang on. The angles are right. And now inside the lines. Cool, right, let's add up, see what we've got. See if any of it makes sense. Right, now all I want to do is the likes of this. That's where the line was drawn. And that's where the cutter's gone. So just gently on the grinder, just lip that off, run it as smooth as I can for what it is, to be honest. It's just a rat bike, eh, Pen?
Yeah.
There we go. Switch on. There we are. It's good enough. Right, sides. All over the place. Right, that's that one done. And now obviously made them absolutely identical. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right, the last two, we clamp them together. They've got any factory edges. There's a factory edge on that piece and on that piece. Right, so they were both cut back to back on that factory edge. So that's guaranteed flat. Line that one up. Clamp them together. Okay. Enough fun and games for one day. Quick mock up, show you what we've done. I've just bunged a couple of weld magnets on there just to hold it for now. It will get connected to these, not quite sure, got a couple of different ideas, going to work out which is the best one. But for now, gives me an idea there. Right, now in the middle. So that's the top. The sides are going to pick up and lean inwards towards the light. Like magnets in the way now. So the sides will chamfer inwards rather than being 90 degrees, which will keep them looking a little bit smart. And on the top, this little doodah. It's going to pick up there. Now that will just give me, obviously all these corners are not going to fly on the beach with MOT, they're way too sharp, so I've got lots of ideas for this and I'll get into that later on because that is a lot of work. But for now, just making the thing, that's the idea, a little cowling on the front. Now that gives me the ability there to put some very dinky little virtually invisible clocks behind. These little eyebrow pieces will just go on the front like that, just welded off the surface, do some invisible spot weld, just drill through some plug welding on the inside, that will hold them like that, so they look quite cool. and that will pick up a little bit of what's going on with the tank. So that gives you a general idea. Now obviously this has been just experimental. None of this is going to look like this. At the moment it all looks chiseled and angular. None of that goes with the wobbly sort of, I nearly said wallaby then. That's a kangaroo. None of it goes with the kind of curvy look of the bike. So it will do when it gets there. It's just that it has to start with flat sheet metal before it goes anywhere else, like all these things. Now for the next, I can't do anything. I was going to weld it up now. I was going to tack it together so it looks quite smart, but we've been at this, what, 3 hours, Pen?
More than that.
More than that. This is a Sunday. It's our only day off in the last 10 days since we've got any time to ourselves, and we want to go out for a meal this afternoon, don't we? Fancy Sunday lunch?
I want to go to the beach.
Go to the beach, right? We're going to the beach cafe and we're going to have some Sunday lunch, I think. So that's going to be it for now. We get this indoors and start getting it rendered so we can get it up. In the meantime, what I've got to do next is the welder is ailing. I've been beating on that welder now since we first ever started doing YouTube. We haven't done any, well, I haven't done any maintenance to that welder since I've had it. It's just been faithful, good Clark MiG 135 turbo, and it's never ever let me down. But one of the tips has snapped off in the head of the nozzle. You can't get them out, so I've got to put a new nozzle on the gun. I've got some new tips. There's a little coil of a wire that goes inside, like a wire guide. I've got to get the old one out and try and salvage it and put it into here, because the new ones are 15 quid for a little coil. I might have to get a new one, and I need a new tip because they're consumable anyway. So I've got to do a little bit of refurbishment work to the welder before I can start welding this, because this is sheet metal and I want it to be really accurate. I can set that welder up. When I first made the belly pan for the Harley, you'll see when I had it set up right, it welds sheet metal beautifully, this thing. That's the great thing with hobby welders. The one thing they're good at is thin sheet metal. So there we are. That's it for number 30. Can't do anything more now. Got to call it a day, haven't we?
I think so.
Lunchtime.
Yeah.
Tummy rumble. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching number 30. Take it easy, ride safe, and we will see you for the next one.